Welcome back to The Count. We're now moving on to story number 6. Harvard fails. The fallout continues following the testimony of 3 Ivy League presidents on Capitol Hill, none of which were able to strongly denounce anti-Semitism on their campuses. One of those presidents, Claudine Gay of Harvard University. She refused to say whether or not calling for the genocide of Jews violated Harvard's code of conduct. Take a listen.
Dr. Gay, at Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment, yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
Apparently, that's a tough question to answer for woke universities these days. The backlash from that testimony demanded Claudine Gay resign or be fired, but Harvard Corporation's board met and decided that she would remain in her role as president of the university. Writing in a statement, quote, "Our extensive deliberations affirm our confidence that President Gay is the right leader to help our community heal and to address the very serious societal issues we are facing." Lots to talk about. Joining me now to discuss, distinguished professor at Touro College, Thane Rosenbaum. Also with us, adjunct professor at the Cornell University School of Law, as well as a criminal defense attorney, Randy Zellen. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
So, Thane, this woman, Claudine Gay, she's also been accused of plagiarizing her PhD dissertation. An expose piece from Chris Rufo came out this week revealing that multiple sections of her dissertation, they were plagiarized, which obviously goes directly against Harvard's policies of academic integrity. And nearly all of her scholarly work is based on racial politics. She's also never published a book. She has a very small publishing footprint overall. And yet Harvard also backed her on this. What do you think about this?
Liddy, I'm not surprised. Remember, this is the woman who was the dean of Harvard's Arts and Sciences School. And that's the reason why you saw 500 faculty members sign a letter in support of her. She is the godmother of the woke critical race theory, diversity, equity, and inclusion playbook. She hired these people. Most people don't understand how entrenched these Marxist ideas are, these structural inequities that white people have over people of color. The thing that no one really wants to say, but Lydia, you and I are old friends, so I feel I can say this with you, which is that it's not that she got bad legal advice, and it's my view that she believes it. She believes that white people, you can say anything to them because the genocide of white people, especially Jews, is a political statement that's protected by the First Amendment. And the same kind of speech that would be uttered against a person of color would be, for the same reason, plagiarism, right, among other people would have been cause of dismissal or termination. But in her case, she rose to the position of president.
Right. Could you imagine that if we exchange the word Jews or Israel with black people, with Latino people, any other minority? What do you think about this, Randy? Does it hate speech? Is that protected by the First Amendment?
Hate speech can be, as long as it doesn't rise to the level of inciting violence. You can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater, but this is something more than hate speech. It really is two things, Lydia. And normally I can go on for hours, but I'll be right to the point. And I'm going to take what you just said. Take out the word Jew and say, Dean Gay, if we called for the genocide of black people, that okay? We call for the genocide of gay people, that okay? I don't think we would get a contextualized answer from this dean, no more than I need a translator to understand the press release issued by Harvard. It is mind-boggling.
It really is. And Thane, the president of the University of Pennsylvania, she had a very similar testimony to Claudine Gay, and she was forced to resign. Why do you think the double standard? Could it be the $100 million donation that was being withheld?
Lydia, the real issue there is this is a woman of color who's only been there for 6 months, and you'd have to be out of your mind to try to touch her. She is untouchable. There would be an absolute mutiny. People don't realize, unfortunately, I've spent too many years on campuses, but people don't understand how terrified the presidents are of the faculty and the students. So when you say withholding of the $100 million, you know, in many of these instances, and we're seeing this at Harvard, they would rather forego the $100 million than to take on the students and the faculty. I think let me restate what I said before. Their chips are all in on critical race theory and diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're all in. This is the most important thing to them. The standards have come down. 17% fewer admissions to Harvard this year for early admissions. This is going to become a second-tier school eventually, and they don't care. This is a battle between the donors that want to preserve the integrity and the reputation of the university, and a very anti-American, illiberal, anti-democratic, anti-Semitic faculty and student body. And there's a clash, and that's what we're seeing.
Randy, we have about a minute left, but it's a big question. How do we get these universities back on track? Do we hit them where it hurts when it comes to donations, or what do you do?
Well, I think to Thane's point, it may not be about money. What it may be is when Harvard stops getting the cream of the crop, because the cream of the crop does not want to be associated with a university that can't bring itself to simply say the genocide of Jews is completely intolerable. So when all of a sudden the top firms, the top businesses are not recruiting from Harvard because the top kids no longer want to go to Harvard, maybe that will wake Harvard up.
Wake up the woke. All right, Randy Zellen, Thane Rosenbaum, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia.
Coming up, what's stacked